Welcome everybody to June's edition of Sip, Sew, and Tell. And these editions will be going over what I sewed in the previous month, what my plans are to sew for the current month, any contest that's going on for this current month, the past winners of a contest for the previous month, and then we'll get into the actual show and tell portion of it, where I will be modeling the garments that I made in the previous month. So here it will be in May, and I'll be telling you all the details about you know, everything that went into sewing that project. So from prep work to the sewing and ironing time, to the cost, to the materials I used, so all of that good stuff. Start with the contest for the previous month. So I would like to get at least 50 participants, for at least for now. Could go up later on, but at least 50 participants for the contest. Sorry, looking down because my dog's right there, and something scared her. And we didn't get that for the previous month, so I'm just going to continue the contest on to this month. But everyone that did participate in the contest for last month, you will get an additional 5 entries. So for a total, you'll have a beginning balance of 6 entries for the current contest for this month. And I'll list all the rules up here, somewhere up here, of how to win the contest. And it was 2 prizes of $75 Joann's gift cards. Okay, so you know, and just in general, what it is I'm gonna pick a random video from of everything that I post for this particular month. So I'll pick a random video, and in that video, in each video that I post, actually there will be a question, and you have to leave the answer, only the answer. Don't list the question and the answer in the comments, because then everybody will know and don't have to actually go and look at the video. So just post your particular answer in the video, and so each one, you know, that you look at, and like I said, I will be randomly picking one video, and if you did answer in that particular video, then you will be entered into you know, a random sample for the prize drawing. And the only other criteria is that you have to have subscribed to my channel. So easy peasy with that. So like I said again, because I didn't get 50 participants last month, I will be you know, just moving the contest to this month. And if I still don't get 50 this month, I'll just add blank spaces to equal it up to the 50. So we will have you know, a winner here, unless it, you know, lands on one of those empty spaces. My plans for sewing this month, remember I tried to start doing be more organized with it. So I'm going to do a top, bottom, and a full length garment. Okay, so the top can be anything like a top, but it can include a tunic, you know, which comes to about the hip area, could even come to the knee area. Okay, so that's a top. Those also could be jackets, but don't worry, we won't be doing jackets, because what, you know, I'm sewing, this is June, so I'll be sewing for July type of weather, so it won't be a jacket there. Bottoms, so bottoms could be pants, skirts, shorts, skirts, things like that. Okay, a full length could be obviously your dresses. It could be a 2-piece set. It could be a jumpsuit, it could be a romper, could be a cardigan, you know. So just think of full length. And what I mean by full length is it basically encompasses a bodice and a bottom. So that's why it's full length. So we'll be showing starting to show the show and tell portion of this video. And so it's just basically going to be a voiceover. So enjoy. This is Macaws M6966, view C. I added 1 inch to the back pattern, which I really didn't need to. I removed 5 inches from the elastic because it was a little bit too big on the elastic. And I overlapped the elastic by 1/2 inch, which basically a total of 6 inches being removed from the waist. The sewing rating was easy. The pattern sizes was an extra small to extra large. The fabric used was a DTY. The fabric content was 96% poly, 4% spandex. Of course, it's a knit. The silhouette was flowing soft. It drapes very close to the body, and it's opaque. But it does let light through. So pattern review questions. Did it look like the envelope? Yes, it did. Were the instructions easy to follow? It was, but I didn't like the way they did the casing method, but it could have been just the view I chose, which was the gathered yoke. I would have just did the casing a much easier way. What did you particularly like or dislike about the pattern? The only thing I disliked was the construction of the casing. Padding alterations or any design changes you made. Like I mentioned before, I added 1 inch to the back pattern, which really wasn't needed. I would size down, honestly, and the hem was extremely too long. I ended up shortening the hem by, I want to say, 4 inches. Would you sew it again? Would you recommend it to others? Yes, I would sew it again, but just a different view, most definitely. And I would simplify the casing. But other than that, it was a very easy sew. The final cost was $16.14. The pattern was $1.99. The thread and interfacing I had on hand. The fabric was $4.42 a yard. I used 2.78, which is the equivalent of 2.875. So for a total of $12.71 for fabric. And the elastic I use 1.5 yards. 3 yards was $2.87, so half of that basically was $1.44. So for a total of $16.14 for this make. Unfortunately, I did not log the time, but typically the prep is about 3 hours. The sewing, sewing and ironing, I'm just not sure, but most definitely probably at least 5 hours. So if you need to gauge how much time, at least that for the sewing and ironing. Okay, so this is Simplicity's S9480. The sewing rating was easy. The pattern sizes was 6 to 24. Mia cut a bust of 22 with hips at a 24, and I added a 1/2 inch, which upped it 1 size to a size 26. The fabric used was gauze. The fiber content was 100% cotton. The item number, just in case it's still available, is 0773745, and I got it from fabric.com. The fabric category was a woven. The silhouette was structure and crisp. The drape, it flowed basically away from the body. Opacity is semi sheer, and definitely does let light through. And stretch, let's see, crosswise stretch is a 1/2 inch. Lengthwise is basically 0 to 1/4 inch, so I classify that as none. So pattern review questions. Did it look like the photo drawing on the pattern? Yes, it did. Were the instructions easy to follow? Yes, it was. I do have a tip for you. Serge the side seams of the bodice individually, because you can't do it toward the end. And also note, I didn't see on the notions on the back of the envelope about buttons, but you will need at least 2 buttons. What did you particularly like or dislike about the pattern? The likes, to me it looks nice, it looks trendy. Even with my little stomach pooch, I think it still looks nice. The dislikes, I didn't really have any dislikes. Pattern alterations or any design changes. I did add to the crotch depth. I added about 1.25 inches to the crotch depth. Okay, for the side seams of the bottom portion, so the pants, I added 1/2 inch, which equivalent to 1 size up. Would you sew it again? Would you recommend it to others? No, I won't sew the jumpsuit again. One basically is enough for me, but it was definitely a very nice pattern, and I would definitely recommend it to others for them to sew, to have at least one of this type of jumpsuit in your wardrobe. Final cost. The final cost for this one was a little bit on the high side. I don't like to go over basically $15, but this one was $33.15. Okay, and it was because of the fabric, you know, don't really come on sale, so I just got it because I really wanted that type of fabric. The pattern itself was $1.99. The thread interfacing I had on hand, so I do not count that in the cost. The fabric was gauze. Like I said, it was $7 a yard, and I used 3.5 yards, so that was a total of $24.50. The elastic was $1.97 a pack. I used 3. That total is $5.91. The buttons is $1.49 for a pack of 4, and I used 2, so that cost was 75 cents. So for a grand total of $33.15. And like I said, I'm going to get much better because I did not put the completion time. I did not track it, but the average for the prep, which is everything not including the sewing and ironing, is typically around 3 hours. For all garments, it just seems to be about 3 hours. Sewing here probably was max 7 hours, and like I said, I didn't track it, so that's not a definite, but that gives you like a guideline for you, for your planning purposes. Okay, this is for Simplicity's S9545. The sewing rating was easy, but my personal rating, I would say it's intermediate because it does have set-in sleeves. Okay, pattern sizing is 10 to 14 and 16 to 22. Me, I used the size 22 and added 1 inch to the side seams. The fabric used was a linen blend. It was 55% linen, 45% rayon. The item number was 0450554, and that was from fabric.com. The fabric category is a woven. Silhouette is semi-soft. Drape is semi-close to the body. Opacity is semi-sheer. The stretch crosswise is a 1/2 inch. Lengthwise is none. Pattern review questions. Did you like the photo? Did it look like the photo on the pattern envelope? Yes, it did. Written instructions easy to follow? Yes, it was. What do you particularly like or dislike about the pattern? My likes was that it's a very comfy top, a baby doll, but it doesn't give you that pregnancy look, but most definitely it's great if you are. The dislikes, I guess not for the pattern itself, but just gathering just takes forever. So that's all. That's just a personal dislike with any garment I do, gathering. Anywho, pattern alterations or design changes you made. Like I mentioned it before, I added 1 inch to the side seam, but probably could have got away with adding about 1/2 inch to the side seam. And I also sewed the side seams at 1/2 inch instead of the 5/8 of an inch, so that gave me more room as well. Would you sew it again? Would you recommend it to others? Yes, I will sew it again. I would just use a different fabric just because it's a nice roomy top, you know, especially in hot weather. It's just a nice go-to top to have in different fabrics. And I definitely will recommend it to others because of the set-in sleeve. It's good practice. So final total cost was $14.66. The pattern was $1.99. The thread interfacing I had on hand, so I do not count that in. The fabric was $5.95 a yard. I used 2 1/8, which is equivalent of 2.13, for a total of $12.67. Okay, for fabric. So total cost is $14.66. Time to complete. The prep time was 3 hours. The sewing time was 7 hours and 20 minutes for a total completion time of 10 hours and 20 minutes. So hopefully you like those looks, and let me know in the comments if you did make those, you know, any of those garments, or if you're attempting to make those garments. I would love to hear. And lastly, just some housekeeping things. The videos, it seems like, based on the numbers, that the pattern spotlights gets more views and attention than the sew-alongs. And the sew-alongs take longer to film, edit, and record, and since it doesn't seem to be getting that much interest, I will probably don't do too many more sew-alongs, unless it's a request or, you know, something like that, that somebody really wants to see that type of sew-along for whatever that particular garment is. But I will be focusing more on the pattern spotlights and the pattern reviews, or the sew reviews. I forgot what I call it, but it's me actually sewing the garment, but basically giving you a review of my experience sewing that garment. So, because I think you guys kind of at this point just want to see the garment, want to hear details about the garment, not necessarily seeing a sew-along, at least not for me. If that changes in the future, you know, I may go back to sew-alongs, but for right now, or slowing down with doing sew-alongs. So yeah, so that's it for, and you know, I keep forgetting to have my sip. You know, my sip will probably be tea or ginger ale, you know, nothing more stronger than that, probably, or Coke. But anywho, next time I have to remember to bring that. So as it always, if you have any questions for me, please post it in the comments below in this video, or any video that you see that you have a question. Go ahead and post it, and I will, you know, discuss the answers or my responses in the monthly Sip Sew and Tells. Okay, and there was no questions from last month, so that's the reason why there's no answers, no responses. But anyway, everybody have a great day. Till next time, happy sewing.